So the talk around town, we got to get to it. New details now emerging as mystery swirls over two high-profile celebrity deaths this week. An autopsy will not be performed on Gossip Girl star Michelle Trachtenberg. She was found in her apartment in Manhattan this week, and investigators are now considering the deaths of actor Gene Hackman and his wife and dog suspicious. All right, with us this morning, Briella Tomasetti, Ryan Christopher. Perhaps you know them. Nice to have you both here.
Thank you, Ralph.
Talk around town. Can we talk about Michelle Trachtenberg? Because I didn't realize that she was not well. I mean, she was 39 years old.
I don't think a lot of people knew this was going on unless you followed her social media posts. Right. You could see that she had maybe jaundice. She had, her eyes were sinking. She looked really, really skinny. And a lot of people were commenting on these Instagram threads. And she responded saying, I'm happy and healthy. They had asked about substance abuse because that was obviously a question swirling amid all of this. And she said, no, I actually never touched alcohol or drugs because it was always embroiled in my mind that it would ruin my career.
So she had a liver transplant?
That's what is being said.
Yeah, that's what's being said.
How long ago?
Within the last year. And that's the thing is my sister-in-law had a liver transplant last summer.
Right.
And so in these situations, you can have that liver transplant. The two livers can match and it can be all good. And then sometimes there can be complications. Things can go south. We don't know specifically if that's what happened here in this situation. I would assume that from the family's perspective, if they knew that this was the situation, that maybe they want to keep that private. And that could be why she was keeping this so private, because she didn't really open up about it. She didn't really talk about it. And for something like that, it's very personal and private for both the donor and the person that's receiving that organ as well. So it's a very sensitive topic when you're really in it.
Of course. And so basically, because I know that your family just went through it, I guess risks can happen within a year, like because you would think like a few months she's doing fine, she's in the clear, but not necessarily.
So from what I understand, it's typically a year when somebody can then go back to work and continue their full duties per se if they have a job or whatnot. So and as Briella mentioned, she did have that jaundice and her eyes were pretty yellow, which is also a sign of somebody that's having some liver issues before that transplant. But again, we don't want to jump to conclusions until we learn anything more. But again, not having an autopsy kind of changes it.
So, Briella, why no autopsy?
Her family actually chose to withhold that, and, it could be because maybe deep down they knew what was going on, or maybe, God forbid, they suspected something else.
I don't know. I think they're using religious...
That in a big case is usually why people choose not to get it performed. Right. But her neighbors saw her. They said that she was always very friendly. I mean, she was right here in the city, near Columbus Circle. So people saw her coming and going. And again, this could be a fright among her family. Maybe there was something bigger at play. But
we don't know.
It's speculation at this point.
So no autopsy.
No autopsy. So I think the cause of death at this point is, quote, undetermined, which kind of leaves people to
I always heard that if you die outside of the hospital, they always do an autopsy. But I guess because religious preferences, they can say they don't want that.
Yeah, unless it's health concerns or there's a bigger threat, I guess, to the public, maybe in the circumstance of like COVID or a pandemic, they would have to perform one. But if her family is telling them to hold off, then I guess they're okay deep in their hearts knowing that she passed and she's at peace. 39 years old, though?
I know, so sad.
Too young. And it was really nice to see Blake Lively, her Gossip Girl co-star, come out and share some really beautiful, touching words about her. So she seemed to be a really beloved actress by everybody that she worked with. She worked with Rosie O'Donnell when she was just a little kid.
These are shows I watched as a kid. Ice Princess, Gossip Girl.
I know. Rest in peace. Rest in peace. And the other one that everybody is talking about is Gene Hackman's death with his wife and dog. At first, they made it seem like no foul play. Then they threw out, oh, maybe it's suspicious, but no foul play. I don't know. What are you hearing, Ryan, on this?
This is a really interesting case. I know that you've been following it all weekend long. I think it's interesting in that Gene Hackman, he sort of left Hollywood and went to this very secluded area for a peaceful life, and it's a shame when you hear about it. And there's a lot of questions still. They were saying that the front door was left open. They were found in different portions of the house, parts of the house. One dog who was sort of left in this cage situation was found dead, and then of course the two dogs, they had a door where the dogs could go in and out of the house. So those two dogs did survive, and it's really interesting how now things have kind of shifted from being not suspicious to now, well, it could potentially be suspicious here.
Well, what I thought was interesting is the person, they released the 911 audio, and the maintenance worker had not spoken to them for several weeks. So now people are, speculating how long they could have actually been in the house. And while the door was said to have been ajar, this maintenance worker peeked through the window and saw one of the bodies on the floor. I believe it was Hackman's wife.
Yeah.
So if the door was ajar, why didn't he go in? Why didn't he take a look? Maybe he felt, weird going on the property without anybody's permission. But the dispatcher was asking all these questions, what does she look like? Is she breathing? What's going on? Is there any sign of life? And this worker panicked and said, I don't know, get here. It really doesn't look good.
But they are doing an autopsy on them, right?
Yeah, and they're going to continue this investigation here. And there's so many theories out there about what could have happened. So we're going to have to wait and find out and really get to the bottom of it.
I think the autopsy and the toxicology results, that's what the sheriff is waiting for, and that's going to give us an answer.
Toxicology could take a while.
But again, you don't know if there was a drug that was in one of their systems or both of their systems. A lot of people are on prescription medication.
Right.
So
and that was found near the wife, right?
Yeah,
the pill bottle.
could that have been knocked over when she had fallen, if it was something else? But the gas company came to check, and they said there were no obvious signs of gas leaks or carbon monoxide.
But the door was open, so if there was a problem,
it could have
escaped.
Right, and you have one dog in the kennel, the other two are alive and well. It's heartbreaking, and these are, again, with the two actress situations, really, really varying diverse circumstances. You have a 95-year-old accomplished actor and then a 39-year-old who was just starting her life.
Either way, you know what? Life is precious.
It is.
It's so precious, and when you hear about this, you have to be grateful that you're healthy and whatever. Say a prayer for the dearly departed.
Absolutely.
And the Oscars will have all those tributes, I'm sure, coming in from Hollywood. You've got to take, the positive, the legacies.
The Oscars are this
weekend.
These people
left. And Mr. Hackman did win 2 Oscars in his career, so he'll certainly be honored this weekend.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate it.